Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator. My name's Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and on today's show, we're going to troll the internet one more time, just because I felt like it. So, first off, thank you to all one of you who are watching, and to the thousands who are listening. Welcome to the show. Very first thing I want to do is offer my very good friend and co-founder of Scary a little birthday wish, and it's a posthumous wish. So let me put that up. Add that image there. There's Henry. That's Henry. He and I formed Scary together in the later parts of 2010, and then we officially started in 2011. Henry's no longer with us. He passed from medical complications, not COVID, in 2021. So, my buddy, my friend, my co-founder, my brother from another mother, happy birthday to you. And thanks for being a part of my life, man. My days are a little dimmer because you're not here. So, okay, that's the end of the sad part of the show, but much love to my good friend. And now let's get on with the UFO stuff. We're going to start in UFOs, but you could move on to something else. I went to our good old friend, the internet, and I found some very interesting things. So we're going to take a look at some of this stuff, and we're going to start here. This is in Aachen, Germany. They spotted a little thing. So we're going to take a quick look at it. There it is. And now it looks kind of foreign and stuff, and it's waving around because the guy apparently can't keep things in check, whoever this videographer is. But I don't know. For me, never mind. He can't lock it down for whatever reason. I was saying handheld. There we go. That's a good shot. In fact, if I can pause it right there, which I cannot. Oh, I can. Look at that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more if I can, and I can do it a little bit. Okay, that is a very interesting looking craft. Do I think it's AI? Let's match this with... Oh, well, we can't match this. This is from Aliens Last Night, by the way. Special little shout out for them for putting this up in the world. I don't know who the angry guy in the corner is, but okay. So they are depicting here, it looks surprisingly terrestrial, is what I'm thinking. There is, with the zoom in, the zoom out, and all that fun stuff, my guess is this was an actual object in the sky. Could it have been placed there? AI, CG? My guess is no, because it's not clear. And you can tell AI to, adjust it to these parameters as seen in this less enthusiastic video. You're going to stick it here in the sky, that type of thing. You can tell it those things, but it'll always create artifacts. A lot of imagination, extraneous imagination goes into creating these things. So this is a weird one. It looks like some sort of probe. My first thought was Johnny 5, but it's missing a few appendages. So it doesn't have its arms or its parachute, built-in parachute. For those of you who know Johnny 5 is, that was my first thought. All right, let's go back. Justice Department. Oh, what's all this? criminy. Okay, while I figure that out and get back to what I was trying to show, we will, yeah, look at something else. So you try and do a search, try and entertain the masses and inform, and things have to go weird and quasi-political. Okay, because I don't know what all that was. Okay, we just saw that one. Let's bring this one up. Share that screen. Go there, and ta-da! We're back in business. At least I think we're back in business. Oh yeah, if I add to the stage we are. This kind of looks like something I saw. So let's see what that is. Okay, Starfleet, Starfleet, John Candy. I love that. Something saying that's a UFO in a lake bed. I'm not buying that unless it takes off. Yeah. They're just seeing flashing lights in the lake bed here of wherever it is they're supposed to be. I can't even figure out where they're supposed to be. Salt Lake City, Utah. Oh, okay, so it's in the lake bed there. Okay. So that one's a nothing. That's complete nothing. That's poop. Worldwide since release of the Epstein files. That's speculation. I'm not really a fan of that type of thing. That's a good one. That's actually something else. Okay. This one looks interesting. I haven't seen this one, but it's pretty quiet. We're gonna look at stuff. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The E-Bird. Okay, so someone is trying to sell us on something, but at the same time, I want to point something out. Okay, hold on. If I could back that up, I will. But you notice these dudes aren't moving at all. Set up, complete fake. Nothing doing there. That's complete garbage, as they say, or as I say anyway. I wish they had little preview videos of some of this stuff, but I entered the search terms UFOs 2026. UFOs will publicly hover over our planet in 2026. Yep, that's what I keep hearing, but I have not seen it happen yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to go into my private stash so we can dig into some more, dare I say, realistic-ish looking things that don't necessarily. Hey, it's Sherry. It's Heidi too. How's it going, Heidi? If you're driving, you probably shouldn't be texting. I'm just saying. Oh, someone's animal had ear surgery. That's too bad. I'm sorry about that. I hope things went well. Okay, this I like. This may require me to somehow integrate the audio, which I don't know that I'll have a lot of interesting. I kind of shared that with her. Okay, so this is Bob. He appeared on Area 52. Let me get this up so everyone can see it. Bob Lazar appeared on Area 52, and he talks about it's just pictures of Bob. I must have grabbed the wrong file. But that's great. He appeared in Area 52 and they talked about all kinds of fun stuff. Here's another one with Bob on this wasn't UFO Origins though. This was something else. There we go. So this is Bob's take on, and I shared this. Here we go.
One from somewhere, another planet, another time, another dimension, whatever it may be. Someone else is here. We're not the top, of the pyramid. No. We're absolutely not there. There's no question. And how they relate to things in our universe, but that may be nothing there may be an entire level of physics that we're unfamiliar with, that, you know, these crafts, these people, or these civilizations just utilize.
That's interesting footage right there. If I could zoom in, I will. There we go. Coming up soon, you saw that triangle form. My partner in Scary, JJ Rose, she saw something and recorded it, so we'll get it on there. That's the Boogosphere, and this is graphics.
I don't think there are that many civilizations visiting us. There's no doubt there's one from somewhere on another planet.
Okay, so he's talking about what he would also term at one point or another as the Zeta Reticuli, the grays, basically, the little ones. So, we can dive into this, and it's just basically our vice president swearing up and down they're demons. He's supposed to be Christian, or Catholic. I'm not sure which, if he's from a different Catholic denomination or not, if he's Presbyterian or something like that. However, I will point out that the official word is from the Vatican, not to get too religious or not, but from the Vatican, whom I consider, I mean, they have a lot of things they're not telling us, man. So I'm going to give them this grain of salt, or no, I'm not going to take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to give them some authority, some, what's that called? Some authority. They have said publicly, either through the sea or through, or the Pope at the time, this was a couple of years ago, that aliens are not demons because they are flesh and blood creatures, which is an interesting statement in and of itself. Have they been in contact with alien beings? Perhaps they have. I know certain members of clergy have actually seen these creatures and their craft for themselves. But there's a popular thing going around that says they are demons. This, for my money, is not necessarily the case, and I say that because, one, a very large, rather, I don't know, an organization like the Vatican, the Vatican, has I think they got a lock on some of the stuff that maybe our government and other larger governments also have a lock on, in that they kind of know the truth of what's out there in the cosmos. To out and out say they're demons, we've heard exorcists talk to that specific thing where they say the demons sometimes take on a look that resembles these things when they're messing with people through possession, and altering their physical characteristics. But it's the thing about a possessed individual and the demon speaking through them is that they constantly change their story. Like, it's like, no, it's really this. Oh, no. It's actually this. No, seriously, I'm an alien this time. So the deception, and everything that kind of goes along with all that stuff is, I think, for my money, going to fall into that category, that it is that the demon activity in an exorcism situation or in a possession situation is separate. Okay, they can lie to you, look like whatever they want, sure, but I think the alien stuff is absolutely real. I've seen them for myself, and these things were, they're escorted by men in black, and they were not demonic. Not by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, especially the kid that I saw was full of life, very, very, happy. I didn't get bad vibes off him. I'm a little sensitive. I'm not the most sensitive individual in the world, but for my money, that is a falsehood. What I see here, and the J.D. Vance image there where he says they're demons. Now, let's take a quick look at. Oh yeah. Okay, so we see. Okay, hold on. Before we go to Bigfoot, we gotta look at the red laser lights here. Some music. I'll kill the music for now. But this is sped up. They say it's not, but I think it is. Now, this is very interesting because this image depicts these standing wave light forms dashing all over the place. And the thing is, there's a car right next to one of these things at one point. You'll see it in a little bit. And the driver doesn't, there's the car right there. The driver doesn't react. See? No reaction. No running away. It'll start moving in a second, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, there it goes. And see, this is all sped up. You think if you saw that thing coming down the road, you book out of there. The driver didn't react. So, by and large, for my money, this is faked. Very nicely done. Good light interaction, but I mean, this is not a real image. This was generated by something else. You know, these are very clear shots, very in focus, I might add. And it looks like someone was maybe imagining what they were going to looking at. Because you notice they're not also, the camera person is not following this phenomenon around. I will point out one thing at the tail end of this, and I'll pause it if I can. That see these light orbs here? You're going to see them moving a little bit, and I think that was the point of interest. So just keep an eye on these guys right here, and then they're going to start moving. See, woo, then they start moving. So the camera operator doesn't react with his stuff until those start moving. So everything else is complete fiction. So why they would do that, I don't know. Maybe they think, oh, we didn't have a cool enough video, so we added stuff to it. Guys, if you have video, even if it doesn't seem all that cool or interactive or actionable or, really awesome, if you're going to capture the stuff and stick it on the internet, just leave it alone. Don't enhance it. I think these red lightning bolts or standing light waves are fictitious. I mean, if they're not, they were seen through the camera only because nothing else around them reacts, including if these things are made of energy, as they appeared to be, the lights. They didn't flicker, they didn't change, nothing like that. The only thing that inspires the camera person or whoever's taking this video is the movement of these orbs here and up here at the last moment. So again, I'm exceptionally skeptical of this, with the exception of these last few frames. So let us move on. Let's see here. Let me get out of this. Okay, this is actually pretty cool. Up in Alberta, they have a funny little cartoon Bigfoot guy, but look at that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Look at that. That is pretty awesome. There's him walking around. Look at that. That's great. And yeah, that's grainy. But that's still some of the best footage. Let's take another look at it when they zoom in. I'm going to pause it. That's behind the tree, Tim. Okay, I'm going to try and... Gosh, that's so distorted. Yeah, okay. I know it's at the edge of the screen right here, but I want you to look at the arm where it meets the hip. That looks a little longer, a little more on par with the Patterson Gimlin film and Patty herself, as far as the nature of the beasts we know and have seen in the past that have been documented and are less than what you call provable. So, I mean, more than provable. Sorry, I cannot talk today. Anywho, So I for my, oh my gosh, that's a big yawn. My apologies. I need some coffee. For my money, that is the real deal for my money. So I'd call that a yes. Okay, dancing weird lights, people talking. Okay. The big starfighter looking thing that people claim, and there's more of these, are over right. That's a night vision one. And that's a CG one too. They keep claiming they see these starfighter looking things. They remind me of the ships from the first. Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry, everyone. Yeah, that movie. Oh my gosh, the Guardians, the first Guardians of the Galaxy. You know the little star-shaped fighter ships they had in that movie. Well, this reminds me of that a great deal. But I hate to tell you this, no reticle is that clear on these things, and it's a really good try, but this is complete and total AI. Sorry to disappoint. I forget what this is about. This is interesting though. I think it's funny more than anything. So someone's sitting home alone, and I hear the music box. Oh yeah, the music box. I'll play that for you. Mm-hmm. Whoops. She says. That's a good one. Good creepy music too. Actually, it's not creepy at all. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. The dog. Oh.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, they got a 3D printer. Look at that.
Tula, what was that?
And the dog's cool, by the way. And that's happened before.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, she doesn't like it. She can't find the toy.
Because I'm about to sit on the porch still calling it.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
So she's done. She's done. That happens a lot in hauntings, actually. Sorry, you probably can't hear me. That happens a lot in hauntings, actually. As I adjust my mic again. Where you walk in a room and it stops. The same thing with, like, if you got a cricket in your house and you know it's about where it is, and you walk in and boop, it goes silent. It's like, oh, and you gotta wait and wait and wait. And she, my gosh, it's a talking on. My mistake and my apologies. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but I digress. Not your problem. Yeah. So, oh, I just knocked the cable out. There it is, it's back. So, I need to check something because I think I didn't plug my computer in. Let's find something else for you guys to take a quick look at while I adjust that. Oh, the flying song, yeah, that one's pretty good. This is 2025. This guy's just talking in the background. I'm gonna kill it. Look at that. That's a great capture, actually. Why don't you guys review that for a sec while I clean up my power issues? And we're back. Look at that. The way that thing whips around. And it's a craft that's been seen before. So that's pretty interesting. And we're back on line with the video and everything. And hey, I got power connected to my computer. Whew, that was close. We almost just completely shut down. All right. Don't want that. So Yeah, I'm willing to call that real. If it isn't, it's really well done because it's fooled me. Fooled me. And this is kind of my bag making things. This is interesting. Okay, this is conspiratorial that Saturn knew that Saturn's rings are engineered, but I still wanted to show it to everyone.
NASA's own Voyager
1986
data revealed cylindrical objects over 31,000 miles long embedded inside Saturn's rings. Former NASA imaging scientist Dr. Norman Berggren documented them in The Ringmakers of Saturn, and the agency never refuted a single measurement. These objects are not asteroids. They show bilateral symmetry, exhaust plumes, and electromagnetic signatures that no natural formation can produce. The rings themselves
Some of this
shouldn't
is
exist. Saturn's
AI.
ring system is losing mass so rapidly that by NASA's own models, the rings should have disappeared millions of years ago.
That's interesting.
Unless something is actively replenishing them. Berggren's thermal imaging analysis showed heat signatures at the precise locations where new ring material was appearing. Signatures consistent with propulsion, not geology.
Interesting.
When Cassini arrived decades later, it captured anomalous objects casting shadows across the rings. Objects up to 2 miles wide, moving in trajectories that defy orbital mechanics. NASA classified over 4,000 Cassini ring images under restricted access before the mission was deliberately crashed into Saturn in 2017. The rings aren't a natural phenomenon. They are an engineered structure, and the machines that built them are still there.
Some of the facts of this are, to my knowledge, and mind you, I worked at NASA for a couple of years. Never mind, I'm kind of a space nutbag anyway. So I know astronomy quite well, astrophysics to a degree. I mean, I don't have degrees in this stuff, but my, knowledge is, I think, on par with, most armchair scientists. And I do qualify as that. But at the same time, the pulverization, I mean, there's a planet one of the moons actually, I said planet, I meant moon. One of Saturn's moons actually feeds into the ring systems. It's volcanic plumes or such that it actually feeds into the ring system. So to say that there are craft up there, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there are craft up there studying it. But to say that they're creating the rings, I think is fantasy, personally. I mean, maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know. But my first instinct is, yeah, that's complete and total fantasy. So I'm going to say no to that one. Yeah, this is the house we just looked at with the music box. Burn it down. Okay. This one... a woman attacked by an unknown creature. Okay, I gotta watch the mouths on this one because my take is this might be an AI generated newscast, but New
tonight, a McAllister mom is fighting for her life after a brutal animal attack, leaving her husband and 2 young daughters in a tough position.
Alicia Maxey was found severely injured Sunday morning. On top of that, her husband Wallace is on dialysis and waiting for a kidney transplant.
Okay.
Fox 23's Paige Orr joins us live in studio. Paige, you talked to the family and to investigators.
That's right, guys. Investigators originally thought that a dog was responsible, but the Pittsburgh County Sheriff's Office is now working with wildlife experts to identify the animal. As they search for answers, Alicia's family is struggling to stay afloat without their sole breadwinner and without a vehicle to get Wallace to his life-saving treatments.
In a remote yard in Blanco, Oklahoma, Alicia Maxey was ambushed before she could even reach the front door of a home where she was hoping to find work.
She heard a deep growl. She said she could remember this growl. And she turned to run back to the truck, and something just pounced on her and knocked her to the ground. And she says it was dog-like. is what she described, but she didn't say it was certainly a dog.
Alicia was airlifted to Ascension St. John in Tulsa with gruesome injuries to her face, arms, and legs. For her husband, Wallace, the first sight of his wife in the ICU was beyond anything he expected.
Whenever I first walked in here, I wasn't expecting to see this. You know, I was thinking more of like a dog chewed up on her leg or bites on her arm or something. I wasn't expecting this.
Wow.
But when I first walked in and I seen her, I broke down and started crying.
I'm in too much pain to say anything right now.
While Alicia fights through her fourth surgery, Pittsburgh County Sheriff Frankie McClendon says the sheer scale of the attack has prompted a search for answers.
38 years, I've never been involved or seen anything to this extent as far as injuries caused by a wild animal. Our question now is what caused these injuries? We've got the Department of Wildlife. They have actually taken some of the evidence, some of the clothing that was ripped from her, and send it off to one of their labs to see what we can find out if there's any way to identify what type of animal.
The tragedy has left the couple's 6- and 7-year-old daughters in a hard spot. Wallace is currently on the list for a kidney, but since their only car was towed after the attack, he has no way to get to his dialysis appointments 2 hours away. Now, the family faces mounting costs for food and housing while supporting Alicia's recovery.
Alicia, she is a loving, caring person. I mean, if you ever needed help, it doesn't matter who you are, she will sit there and help you.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. That is a tragic story in its own right. But the fact that they can identify what did it, a lot of, theories speak to this being a dog man or a werewolf or something along those lines. Skinwalker, maybe. I really don't know. But I think that might be, given where they live, they're kind of somewhat in the sticks area. But that's not to say maybe they're just misidentifying the creature. But dog-like, okay. Could this be... If it's not a wolf, could it be a different... it wouldn't be a coyote, because... I mean, unless it's gone rabid. Whoops. So I'm not too sure what to call this one, but the fact that the sheriff and the wildlife service have gotten involved and are teaming up and trying to find out what this thing is, I'd be curious to see if I can find further things on this report. If anyone out there in the audience has any information regarding that attack, do we have a date on this?
New tonight,
I'm sorry, I meant to date. Do we have a date? April 5th. Oh, okay, so that was rather recent. So that was 11 days ago in Blanco, Oklahoma. Oh, I see. So it's Pittsburgh County in Oklahoma. So if anyone has any leads on that or has a follow-up story, let me know. I'd be very curious to see if they've made any progress. Maybe we could tackle that in a future episode as well. Okay. Some weird stuff here. Oh. Okay. This one's pretty cool. Space music, but look at this cloud. I'll put it up for you guys. Let me add to the stage here. Look at that. If that is faked, it is really, really well done. I mean, it does have elements of being CG, but it also looks like something maybe we've all seen before. Actually, and now that I take a third look at this, yeah, I'm thinking this is completely made up. Yeah, I mean, it's a very short clip, so it wouldn't be too hard for... Oh, yeah. Oh, look at the textures. Yeah. This is completely made up. I thought it was kind of fascinating, but nope, this is fake. That is not what you think it is. This is great. So this is a saucer pursuing a passenger jet. Look at that thing. That is right out of UFO magazine, too. Look at that. That thing's crazy looking. Look at that. It's amazing. And everyone was apparently pretty frightened on the... This is from UFO Archive, by the way. Apparently everyone on this flight was rather freaked, especially the person taking this video, because that thing was really close. It was kind of getting closer and a little too close for comfort. Wow, that's a great one. I don't see where this would be CG because, no, I don't think so. The sun's right, the shadow's right. Look at all that. All that lines up. Yeah. I've never seen one of these craft with such a bulky bottom before, per se. So, I don't know. Maybe this is one of those back-engineered craft and they had to add stuff to it. That's interesting. But, yeah, I don't know. Thoughts? Kiara's here. Hey, Kiara, welcome. So, yeah, if you guys have any takes on this stuff, let me know. I'm more than happy to discuss it. Whoops. And here we go. Yeah. Sorry. I keep forgetting. I got to click over to the other window. Okay. The whole bunch is crazy. Not going to do that one because that's really involved. And then nobody believe. Okay, the moving trees, guys. I've been wanting to do the moving trees for a while as an episode, but I want you to take a look at this. Look at that. That's crazy. The living, moving trees. That's a short little clip. It's pretty awesome. The detail's amazing. I'm trying to see if you know these trees, they are way super thick, and that is hardy wood. Very hard to take down. But apparently malleable enough. Although, as we zoom in, it twists. So I'm also looking at the surrounding brush because you think you'd see dirt coming up around here. I mean, it's not the most high-res video in the world. In fact, it looks like it was down-resed a little bit. But if this is legit, it's pretty good. Maybe I do see dirt. Okay, folks, I'm going to invite you to look at this little area right here. And I know it's grainy. But look at all that bubbling up right there. I say bubbling, I mean, pushing. Like you would expect. Although I will say it looks like there's an interrupt right there. Yeah, there is. Okay, completely and totally fake. Yep, that's really cool image though. I have to say, apparently done in 2025 in November. Although there are still, to this day, rumors of trees being able to do this. Maybe we got one, but I don't know. This sunlight interrupt down here, so you can see all the forest behind it all of a sudden. It just, yeah. That's probably rather fake. Yeah, I think I just lost my light. Oh, and it's back. Yeah, I think that's been falsified. That's too bad. That would have been cool. Oh, and yeah, I had that on there for a very good reason. I can't remember. Okay, so, okay. These are images, and I'll play the sound on this.
This is Italian journalist Maurizio Cavallo. These are pictures of aliens from a planet called Clarion, taken by the Italian journalist who has been in contact with these beings and has been taken to their planet several times. Journalist Cavallo has taken pictures of aliens on camera several times. He described that they look like humans, but their facial features are somewhat different from ours. The beings reside in a galaxy 150,000 light years from Earth called Planet Clarion. Cavallo claimed it took them 72 Earth days to get to their planet. Here are more images Cavallo captured.
Let's see. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the Cavallo images are pretty famous in the UFO community. Yeah.
This is
Yeah, we already heard that part. But I'll let the images play again in the background. So they're actually pretty famous, and it could be that he's that decent of a photographer that he can manipulate the edges of a lens, or he has a special modified lens that can make some of these facial features look more exaggerated. Sorry, that's me opening a cheesesteak. I'm a little hungry. But this is obviously some iStock stuff. But that's pretty interesting right there. Interesting imagery. And that looks like what do they call those? Badalas or something like that. So, thoughts on that? For now, I'm 50-50. I know there are lenses that can pull off that effect right there. I'll zoom in on it again. So, and the fact that the shot's a little more in focus and this stuff isn't gives me pause. But again, I'm not. Okay, just to briefly touch on it, the Easter prediction never happened. Interesting. Let's look at cats fighting demons, or ghosts at least. Something. Protecting children. That's the cat's hit. Brrr. Yeah, he's fighting something. Something's threatening his human child. Yeah, that's an angry kitty. Look at him stand over that kid, though. That's amazing. And you notice that the kid doesn't move? Does this happen all the time? Is this CG or AI? The child is motionless. This doesn't seem to be. I mean, kids can sleep super deep. Super deep. And maybe this cat is at war with whatever it is it's hissing at on a regular basis. And so the kid's used to it, so he'll just forget it. I find it interesting that the child is not really locked in all that well. Yeah, they got the pillow back there. I'm trying to see if I see that pillow move from the cat standing on it. I think I did. So we'll watch it one more time. I'm watching the pillow now. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Maybe this is legit. Those are some tightly pulled sheets, right there. No, look at that, ruffling the sheets and everything. Really well done. The kid doesn't budge. What a good kitty. I tend to think this is legit. That's a good one. So that's a ticked off kitty protecting its human ersatz child. Okay, this is messed up. I'll go out and come back into this one. Let me turn the volume on and then. Okay. This is cool. This is a fighter pilot's recollection of what happened. I think they were with the French Air Force. Don't quote me on that.
I approached the object and shot 64 30-millimeter shells at it. They had no effect at all. It looked like they were absorbed. 1,800 men were in formation at the airbase.
Peru, excuse me.
A stationary object in the sky which looked like a balloon. My unit commander ordered me to take off with my jet. I approached the object and fired, but the object remained unbothered. Then object began to ascend and move far away from the base. I flew up high to attack it from above, but it began to ascend almost parallel to my plane.
Wow.
When I reached 63,000 feet. It stopped. At this point, I came to within about 300 feet of the UFO. After I landed, the object remained stationary in the sky for 2 hours for everyone at the base to see. I approached.
That is a fun recount. Completely made up CG. The jets don't look like that, man. With the, you have a. Anyway, completely made up CG recounting of the event. But that did happen in Peru in 1980, where this big egg-looking thing decided to hover over a Peruvian Air Force installation. Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say about that. Okay, we've heard about rakes and how they're fake, they're internet made up, but then you see this.
We got a crazy one.
Yeah, this is a crazy one.
Okay, so alarms are going off and the rooster's going nuts.
Look at this.
What is that?
What is that? Rooster's still going nuts.
Right there.
Right there.
What the heck?
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
No.
This looks a lot like how a rake is described to me, except the fingers. Although the fingers are... Actually, I take that back. That's a person. I wish they bleeped their swears. This is straight playback, so...
Well, you better go now.
Here comes Cookie again. They're swearing a lot, so I muted them. It's at their window. Wow. Again, I muted it because they're swearing all the time. Well, something frightened it.
Oh my God.
Look at that thing go. That's weird.
I don't know.
So, quite the weird one for you all to absorb. Let me see if I can. I wish I had better control over the videos in these things. But for the most part, that could be a crazy person running their property. But they are navigating the dark really well, and they don't appear to be wearing any equipment that would allow them to do that. Number of things in this one. I'm going to let it roll silently again. This is from Real Paranormal Stories PS, and that's awesome that they put that out for all of us to look at. But we're going to look at this again. Sans commentary. because they swear a lot, and I can't let that stuff out over the air if I can help it. So, a little play-by-play. One downside about night vision cameras is that effect. You get that not strobing, but shadow play. Like the camera isn't recording at a fast enough rate, so you get that strobing effect when you move, and that's why the tree looks like it did what it did. Because she has one of those cameras that are on a gimbal and they can rotate and stuff like that. And this thing is humanoid, human-shaped. The rooster doesn't like it. It's going off at, I think something like 2 a.m. And they keep asking, where's the dog? Where's the dog? And they see the dog staring at it, not making a noise because it doesn't want to be a target or perceived as a threat. So whatever this thing is, it's not moving normally either. That's something else. This actually classifies, for me, this looks a lot like a rake, although the hands don't seem as pronounced, and then in some instances they do. And the methodology with which this thing moves and the morphology of its physicality is really, I hit the wrong button, is really interesting. And we don't get the closest look at it. And the infrared lights just completely blare it out. That's the strobing I was thinking of. And you get a little bit of light shine off it at one point as it turns. So it's walking very carefully, very gingerly. And it has a wobble to it like it's almost like a marionette. They fast forward, and then they see it again. Now check this out. Way more so-called definition, but the infrared light is completely whiting out the object. We don't see eyes anymore. Look at the hands, though. The hands don't look distended like we hear about the rake. Maybe they're just clawed. Maybe they're retractable. We don't know. And maybe they're not. That is just strange. The way he books at the last second, because I guess the dog finally made a lunge for it. So it ran. It tripped it. And then, watch this. They move their camera, because there it is again. And look at the way it's standing. The way its hands just kind of hover there at that thing. So it's looking in the window at them right now. Or at least as of... and then something spooks it and it runs off. I'm going to pause it here. So this was in January of this year. Beginning, Happy New Year. Here's a rake stalking you. At 2017, so that's 8 o'clock. In South Fort. Or, I guess they call it South Porch. I get it. Is that Port? Wherever they're at. And, yeah, that's a wild one. That is a wild one. It reminds me of it. Look at that. Look at the way it's booking. To move like that, and then there was a weird little flash. I wish I could back this stuff up and take another look at it. Okay, then, so we're starting over. But, these, I don't know, guys. That one has me rather convinced that was a real thing. Okay, some of these guys just bug me. Let's go back to the top real quick because I want you all to see the Boogosphere. Is it not here? I thought it was here. I could be wrong. I thought I saw the saucer deploying the Boogospheres, and it was pretty obviously CG. I just wanted to show that to you guys. Let's see here. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So add a. Where's this? It's in a foreign language, so I can't read it. But look at these. These are your spheres, your basic spheres. Kind of look like the Buddha spheres. And man, they're matching up for me. They don't move off point. The camera is shaky just enough. The only thing that disturbs me is, see the banding? The sky itself doesn't look that uniform. I'll give them kudos for most of the rest of it. Let's watch it. Darn, let me get back to the beginning of this again. Sorry, I'm eating. Okay. So this side of the building is more or less in shadow. We see that it's bluer up top with a band of clouds around the outside. And when they zoom in on this phenomena, even as it moves, because they will. Yeah, there we go. It kind of matches. You get what would be the building of surrounding Earth here in this section. This will be the cloud layer. That would be the blue overhead, which we're kind of making out up here. But at the ouch, sorry, those are my knee going on. I don't know if you guys heard that. At the same time, while I tend to, and special thanks to UFO Archive for putting that out there. One thing that's bugging me is the halo. Now, we've seen the halo mentioned before. We've seen evidence of this. Like they have an aura to them. When Bob Lazar sounded off on I wish I had it here. Sounded off on a UFO video that surfaced after so many years. I think I shared it too. I don't know why it's not in here in my archive, but it isn't. But apparently this is in Russia, as it says right there. But as we take a closer look at these things, it matches, but it doesn't match. Also, there's the halos there, which makes me think this is probably an insert. But I will give the creator kudos. Also, you know what? Let's play it again. Let's just keep playing it. Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay. I'm going to let it get right there. I'm going to zoom in here. It seems to me these are in better focus than this thing, which would suggest, at least as from a camera operator point of view, that the instead of hovering over this array, whatever this thing is here, some sort of radio or cell phone array. Yeah. Kiara makes an interesting point that they are exactly the same. I'll put that up there, Kiara. That they're exactly the same. Yeah. And they keep, they're like, let me read what she said, because I gotta zoom in though. They are all oddly exactly the same. There also appears to be a cut out looking area in their top left. Yeah, you know what that is? Because I think that's why this is fake, because it's an artifact. When you zoom in on something, because it's supposed to be the sun kind of glinting. It's kind of like the diamond ring effect in an eclipse. You kind of get that same type of thing. So let's watch it zoom, continue here for a second, and then they'll zoom in on it, and I'll pause, and you'll see that flat part Oh, I stand corrected. But you see what it is? It's supposed to be the glint of the sun. And that also bugs me because if we looked at the building before, the sun wasn't coming from over there, although it's a round object, so it might fisheye the light a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's the aura, and it's just too uniform. So I'm gonna call that. Well, I'll tell you what. To add a little bit of fairness, because I'm not absolutely sure, but my gut instinct says this is faked. But I'll call it 50-50 because I'm a little unsure. I'd like to break that down a little bit more and some filters and stuff. But it wouldn't be unheard of to see, these kind of, what do they call them? Foo Fighters back in the World War II? These buka spheres looking things do look rather identical when they're spotted. Okay, let us move on. Actually, let us take a little bit of a break here. It's time for station identification and a few commercials and stuff like that. We'll see you in about 2 minutes. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest.
Long ago in the ancient world, the Trebus Omnes Lux, later known as the Tridents, were celebrated heroes, defenders of humanity against unspeakable monsters. Today, they continue that sacred duty in secret, hunting the dark evils that lurk just beyond the shadows. They are the Trident of Light.
And we'll be right back after this. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim Sudano, host of Paranormal Insight, a weekly video magazine that reaches 500,000 viewers and listeners every week on average, and the number is only growing. Connect your brand with our curious, dedicated audience who want authentic content and authentic brands. For further information on putting your brand on the show, contact me directly at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. Today we're going to talk about the strange and the unusual. Check out our Patreon. Get deeper, behind-the-scenes insights. Also, tips into being a better paranormal investigator and other fascinating content. Follow us on Instagram at paranormal.insight. Stay informed on upcoming shows, see what paranormal trends we're following, and help us reach 50,000 followers by liking, following, and sharing. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at paranormal_insight. Click the live tab to see our latest videos. There we go. Now we're back. Wow, that thing took a while to clear up. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Sedano, and this is Paranormal Insight. Today we're trolling the internet, but I want to add one more thing to your, to your attention, if I may, and that is StoryTV.com. StoryTV is an aggregate. Hey, you can't see it. There it is. Story TV is, I'm sorry, I called it an aggregate, but it's not. It gives independent filmmakers an opportunity to actually get their stuff shown and get paid for it. I am a member of this. That is a still from one of my movies that their AI trail maker, creator, whatever it is you want to call it, for Monster Hunters of the TOL there, actually created for me, which is pretty cool. And then there's also Blaney Tucker's Ghost, which is pretty awesome. That was my award-winning film. TOL was an early attempt at something else. at a concept piece, and we're making a new concept piece, an updated one, if you will, and that'll be out hopefully at the end of the summer. So, just wanted to bring all your attention there to storytv.com. If you want to watch my content, you can look under my name, which is Tim Sudano. There I am, right there. So check out the Story TV. It's free. You'll watch it at a lower resolution for free, but it's still free. And even if you're not into the shows, as it turns out, please, I would very much appreciate it if you just let it play all the way through in the background, even if it doesn't strike your fancy. That helps me, get on there. As you can see, I have not been plugging this thing. We're at 0 followers right now. So if you want to follow me, that would be fantastic. And leave comments on the films when you watch them. That would be also very helpful. Once again, that's Story, STORIE TV.com. Story TV is all one word, by the way. Let's get back to the spooky stuff. Okay, so as I call that back up, I would like to also, excuse me, let you all know about, yep, that thought went away. Okay, well, so be it. So let's roll on here. We have the lost tape from the 70s of a newly surfaced piece of Bigfoot footage. Let's see what it is. I actually don't remember this one. So here it is. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Huh. Wow. That's pretty good. Okay, I'll pause it. And boom. And boom. Okay. That's a bad pause. There we go. Ah, man. I should have paused it earlier. Let me get my little tag thing out of there. Okay. So, dude has a hunch. You can't see it. I'm so sorry, everybody. You don't know what I'm talking about. There it is. Let's play it from the beginning. We'll let this guy walk on here. I don't know. That is looking suspiciously like someone in a suit. I don't know. There's this the morphology of the body. I mean, the arms are the right length, kind of orangutangish. That length. Something happened to its back, apparently. Is it wearing a backpack? Is the guy wearing the monster suit wearing a backpack? Oh no, it does kind of look like a ruck, doesn't it? Huh. I'd be curious if it passes through an AI filter, although the way the grass in the foreground is handling the image, my guess is this is indeed film. Like 8mm film. Yeah, that gait is something else too. But the legs seem, I mean, I'm not seeing the full step, the full leg rather, but they seem stubby. Am I wrong? And the morphology of the body seems way off compared to Patty. I think this is someone in a monster suit carrying a backpack because they have to get out to a spot to shoot their monster movie. That's my guess. That's my best guess anyway. Don't do this in Oklahoma. I forget what that is, but I think it was silly. Okay. You may remember I had images and video when I had Cat Ward on the show where we had little pixie dudes like these guys here. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I don't know this flubby guy, flubby. I don't know what I'm saying, flubby, but it looks like I don't know. There's no sound to this either. So a bunch of goblin-looking guys and this thing has something hitting him in the face constantly. Yeah, that's some CG right there. That's some CG. I'm thinking. Yeah. Yep, that's CG. Okay, that was pretty funny. But you remember I had the other guys who were in the forest in England, that Santa Claus looking explorer guy, and he had similar footage of what he called pixies in his forest, and it looked very much like these guys. Not, the ears weren't as pronounced, but still. Okay, that was pretty funny. Whew, excuse me. Ancient mysteries. Oh yeah. Well, okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. This is kind of cool, I think.
This could be a national security issue. The general was involved with the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace research.
Okay, we're talking about the missing general.
Classified space weapons program. McCaslin was in charge of the Air Force Research Lab at a base in Ohio. It's rumored that base holds extraterrestrial debris from the Roswell crash site. The general was tied in with the UFO community. A source told the New York Post the general was a gatekeeper for anything UFO related in the Air Force.
All I see him doing is cutting cake.
Fog. But investigators say he's still highly intelligent and capable. McCaslin was an avid hiker. His wife last saw him leaving with a backpack and a .38 revolver. No phone, no glasses. He disappeared 6 days right after Trump announced he was releasing the UFO files. And he's not the only one. 8 months before the general vanished, a rocket scientist who worked under him years ago also went missing. She was hiking in California with 2 other people. They saw her smiling and waving 30 feet behind them. When they turned back again, she was gone.
That is frightening. Let's get back to it. Actually, I went to, oh, criminy, did I bury it? There it is.
Police are searching.
So, police are searching. Yeah, we get it. So, I want you to look at the IXS Enterprise up here in the corner. I'll zoom in so you can all see it. That is a theoretical, it's based on a doctor's theoretical approach to human light speed travel. And that is sticking the bulk of your ship inside this ring here. And the ship would then hit its light speed point. Basically, it disrupts space, or space-time if you prefer, behind it. Space-time doesn't like being disturbed, so it forces the, it straightens it. It wants to be a certain way, a certain wavelength, if you will. And it propels the craft like a water, so it spits the water. As it straightens things out, it creates enough of a force wave of some sort that this vessel is theoretically supposed to be able to capture, and it gets spit across space like a watermelon seed, basically. And you apply the same disruption in front of you in order to come out of light speed. I've been aware of the IXS Enterprise project for a very, very long time. And while some of its mechanics are largely theoretical, mostly because, at least as far as we know, don't have the mechanics to alter field density that much, although I heard we just cracked that code recently. It also goes to what Mr. Forbidden Knowledge said, where he said it could be they knew too much about a new concept for a ship named the IXS with an FTL or faster than light speed warp engine or warp drive engine. So, that's, I typically don't delve into conspiracies, but there are I mean, as of this reporting, March 24th, yeah, I did say it was frightening because it's amazing that people just disappear. Especially this gal here who has a full 411 style disappearance attached to her. These other two, including the general, were seen, I'm going for a hike, and never returned. Never mind, they were armed and had some supplies with them, enough for a day probably. But the fact that this gal here, who worked under at least the general, if not this guy too, and I forgot who that is. And that's really kind of, I mean, journalistically, I would say missing or presumed, dead, instead of were they killed? Because I think you're inviting a rain of really bad stuff. But I will say this, to have her disappear 411 style, like we all have heard before, we were just hiking along, and we all know this story to one degree or another. I think it was a husband and wife team. They're hiking up this cliff, this pass that, it's a sheer cliff down one side, a sheer cliff up the other side, and there's barely enough room for like 3 or 4 people on the path itself. And there was nowhere for this lady to go but down, because she doesn't have a rocket pack, So husband and wife go up, and the wife is suddenly just not there anymore. She disappears, very much like this lady's thing. And she had company, so they turn around and suddenly she's not there. Oh, just absolutely crazy. Do I have a theory? If I'm going to say it's wild, it's a wild theory, but given what we've already determined scientifically, that there are quantum universes, we have established that because we have quantum computers accessing those quantum fields. Today's word is quantum. If it were a drinking game, I'm sure we all be smashed. But there's just so much weird stuff. So here's the weird theory. We are talking about the possibility of an abduction. I don't think by aliens necessarily. If we have access to these different quantum fields or dimensions or what have you, and we can hide just behind our reality, and we have the ability to step through, and then grab someone and pull them into this alternate dimension, or even a pocket dimension, completely artificial dimension that links somewhere else. I actually explore this in my books, which you saw advertised, and please pick them up. Anyway, it's entirely possible that is what happened, especially today. Is any of this provable? Nope, not at all. It's pure theory. But I will say this. I have been right about some of the crazier things in the world than not. Let's move on. Part 7. Oh, yeah, that's good, but it requires you to know it all. That's Augie Nost right there. He's pretty cool. Okay, here's a good one. Oh, we go back to UFOs. I want you to take a look at this video right here. I want you to take a look at all this, what's happening here, and then that. Now, I'm going to zoom out so you can see it, and you got to look at the counter over here. Look at how many days that is. That's 3 days. It goes from March 9th to March 12th. So whatever this thing is here, it's been sucking off our sun. Fuel, resources, I don't know what. But it's spherical. And it takes a lot of material with it, and it's able to hang out that close to the sun. In order to pull a flare or a gaseous column like that off the sun, I mean, I really don't know how many hundreds of miles that is, but I want you to look at the curvature of the sun, and you know how big it is. Look at how big that thing is. This other craft here, as it becomes more visible. Well, visible. We see the shadow of it, but nonetheless, that's insane. That's amazing. And this is off our satellite, the SDO satellite. And a special thanks once again to the UFO Archive for putting this out in the world for us to look at. That is just amazing. One of our solar observers saw this over the course of 3 days. This is sped. Look how fast those days, all those days and hours are going there. Yoop. By day 3, it's fueled up or full, or its cargo hold is full, or whatever gases it's collecting, or material it's collecting, and then it boop goes away. It fights the power of the gravity of the sun. At that proximity, it should be getting sucked into it, no problem. I couldn't even begin to tell you how big that is. That is at least this, probably fit 1,000 Jupiters in there. Given how much of our sun, I call that at least just on the verge of a quarter, maybe a fifth. I don't know. But still, a fifth of our star. With that much of curvature being observed, and look how big that thing is. You could put 1,000 of those in our sun. So, and our Jupiter's is our biggest, body in our solar system, and it would take at least something like, I think, 1 million Jupiters to fill the sun. Look how big that thing is. Oh my goodness. I mean, that is just amazing and super impressive to me. So, you want proof of alien life? Unless that's a weird... I mean, okay, whether it's a machine or a biological entity, that's really just fascinating and, proof positive right there. Because that density right there doesn't make sense. The sun has a reaction. You'll see that pulse wave here. You'll see this little floof around day 2. Boof, right there. See? It doesn't like what's happening and it reacts, and then it's saying, okay, time to go before we blow up the star or whatever. So, yeah, man. That is beyond fascinating. Sorry, there's a bug around here. The thingy here is kind of weird. But I'm not going to go into that one. What was that other one? A really creepy one. I don't know, got on camera. It's just the ball. I think this is the ball in on the staircase of that hotel that where the Weird Ones Are host is putting that movie together. I think they're shooting at this location. Well, let's take a quick look at it. Yeah. And that's the ball. That's the ball. I think it'll actually work its way upstairs in a couple of minutes, too. This was caught March 17th this year. That's crazy stuff. I want to see this ball again. Now, obviously this is on motion capture because the camera doesn't start rolling until there's actual motion. But it looks like it starts at about that stair and then it gets pushed. And, you at that stair, you would see someone running up the stairs trying to get away from it or stuff like that. Could it have been the wind? Not the wind, but ventilation blowing things around. Could be one off this little overhang there, but I don't know. Let's watch it again. Because, hello, there it is. Boom, 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 boom. You see how slow it starts? And starts about right there. Yeah. The motion stops, and the clip stops. But that's amazing. That's pretty cool. That's a lovely home, too. Must be, like I said, I think it's that inn or that haunted mansion that Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are is filming his movie in Massachusetts. Don't quote me on that. But very fascinating. Fascinating. Does it say ghost? No, but a lot of experiences there. They call the ghosts Gordon and Rachel. Or no, it was Gordon and Rachel. And they just kicking their ball when it was okay. Gordon and Rachel. I guess they're child ghosts. That's kind of interesting. I don't remember what this one is, but we'll watch and see. Oh, someone freaked her out. It's from, oh, yeah. Oh, let's watch that again. Okay. This is great. Watch her shirt right there. Something grabs her. And I've had that happen to me. Oh, yeah. That's not cool. That's not cool. Yeah. Not cool. So they grabbed her shirt ethereally and scared her off. My goodness. And this is at Fort, one of our military forts, right? So special thanks to Down the Rabbit Hole for that little clip. That's pretty cool. This is an interesting story. It's full of CG and the recreation, but it's still a very fascinating story. So let me see if I can get the
my window. He was trapped along next to me, and he was looking down inside.
All right, so let me go out and go back into it, okay? So you can hear the whole story.
The size of my window, and he was trapped along next to me, and he was looking down inside of my cabin. I'm at 9 feet tall. I was hearing a vocalization that wasn't natural.
Yeah.
I got in the truck, started driving, and as I looked in my right side mirror, there was a wolf head. His yellow eyes were darting all over the place. I had a gun and I just pulled it and shot twice. I knew it was dead, but I wanted to make sure. So I turned around. As I was coming back, I'm looking right where that werewolf was laying. It was gone now, and there was a Jeep parked, and there was a man and woman there, and they were just looking at me a little bewildered. I was detained. A couple of federal officials said, "You killed one of our assets, and this is how things are going to go down from this point on."
Wow.
They took my gun, and they shut my bank account off. They keep people quiet, and I'm just not going to stay quiet because too many people are getting killed by these things and don't even know they're out there because of the suppression from the government. I saw a bullhead the size of my window. And he was,
let me shut that down. Well, I'll just mute it and we'll just let it play. So this guy, Mr. Joe Barker from Michigan, this is his story. And it was assisted by a bunch of CG. Very good CG, AI, I might add. It looks very good. Reported not only encountering, but actually shooting a dogman / werewolf. And then the government pulls him over at one point and says, "You shot one of our assets." Man. The implications on that are astounding, and I have suspected this for a very long time, that a lot of what we are accidentally seeing out in the world, including that farmer and her husband, or the farmers out there who had the skin or the rake-looking thing walking around their property. If they're just letting these things run free and can call them to heal whenever they absolutely need them, that kind of makes sense. Although you'd think they have a little more control over it. But according to Mr. Barker, these things are made or allowed to roam free, act on their instincts whenever they see fit, until they're somehow put to use by the government as assets in a given situation. That wouldn't surprise me. Not at all. Do I approve? Nope, sure don't. You and I only have Joe Parker's word on this story. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kiara says that she watched the entire story live on the YouTube. Kiara, would you happen to have that YouTube address? Because I'd like to share it with the audience if I can. Because that'd be great for all of us to actually see this. I mean, I don't know how long this piece was, but apparently the whole story is being told, which is great. Or maybe you could look up Joe Barker, Michigan trucker, and find his story. But nonetheless, the actual video would be great, and it just answers a lot of questions too, for me at least. Chief, among them, how all these, maybe, oh gosh, remember that animal attack we looked at the very beginning of the show? Maybe that's one of these assets. If they let him off the chain and then call him in when it's time to go to work, wow, that would be insane. Oh, I wonder if I'm right about that. Huh. Anyway, Kiara, if you could find that video address, that would be fantastic. I'd love to share that with everyone. And in the interim, we will take a look at something else. She was dancing, but something moved. Oh, yeah, that's messed up. We'll take a quick look at this. So let's watch our gal. See it? And then she bugs out. Okay, well, it'll repeat pretty quick. So here she is dancing. I want you to watch back here. So the shadow crosses the thingy. Now, I want you to take a look at this thing again and watch right here. Oh, wait a minute. I think we're looking at a piece of footage here. All right. And then off she goes. Afraid and all that. Also, now, we see the camera there. We wouldn't be able to. All right. But the way the shadow cuts through the wall there. Let me see if I can pause it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. You would think if it's following the hallway back here, it would go through the doorway and then disappear and then come to the little open area over there. So I'm very skeptical of this one. But it's still a fun one to take a look at. Okay. And then there was Manchester Landscape Retreat. Huh. Yeah, I've been hearing weird reports about that. I'm not too sure I believe that it was shot down. But let's take a look. This guy has a great story, if I remember correctly.
Kill people. This woman comes up to her and there's twins. These women are twins. They're in their 70s. One woman says, my sister here, she had a stroke. She can't hear. She's totally deaf. Can you heal her? And Chris is standing in front of the hotel. Suddenly his cell phone. There's Tim Taylor. Tim Taylor says, if you're in front of a hotel and someone needs healing, go ahead and do it.
No way.
Yeah. So he says, I don't know.
Wait a second. Hold on a second.
Area 52.
This is so strange.
He puts his hands on her ears and he says, in the name of Jesus, like Emery said, in the name of Jesus, I heal you or whatever. And this woman goes into my lecture and she comes out of the lecture and she says, I can hear everything said. I can hear.
Wow.
All the people from the conference go to this restaurant across the street. Sco comes back and she's distraught. She's like, holy, I can't believe what happened.
It was like a third person was in the conversation. She says,
It was like, Tim Taylor. The phone was a transmitter phone. That he had been given this phone. I don't know if this is true. He'd been given this phone. It was a transmitter phone. Everything that he did was being recorded by somebody. That summer, a rich business guy out of New Jersey has a cottage, or may have built a big log cabin in Pennsylvania. So I get invited, and I'm the only guy with no money there. Suddenly, Tim Taylor shows up, and it was my friend that invited him. And then he says to Tim Taylor, he says, hey, we're going on a UFO thing. You want to come along? And Tim goes, oh, yeah, sure. So they go to the Gerald Anderson's case.
okay.
And they're pulling up this medal. And I still remember my friend. Now he won't talk. He's forgotten everything. He's forgotten everything that happened. Tim Taylor said, when they got some of this medal, he said, this is the real deal. I had the download experience. So we talked about downloads. Yeah. And he talked about the invention. So he gets this invention. He's got 40 patents. And then he's in contact with, he calls the beings or whoever. He doesn't call them aliens, whatever. And they give him these inventions. So the first one came. He woke up in the morning with this idea in his head. And supposedly this company sold for 88 million or 100 million on NASDAQ or whatever. And he said, the last thing I remember the night before was a hooded figure standing at the end of the bed. So at one point, he pulls out his cell phone. And he says, what do you think of this? Shows me his photo of these two guys on a painting. These two guys are flying through space on this painting. And they look like they got pajamas on. One guy's older than the other guy. And then he shows me another photograph of these balls all going down this tunnel. And then he shows me another one, this eclipse thing, where the eclipse is taking place. And then he shows me this photograph, it's like a screen on the outside of a building. And then he shows me the catchers. He shows me this. This is 999 Sepulveda Avenue. And then he says, you know what this is? He said, this is where the jump room was. If I hadn't known who he was, I would have paid attention.
The jump room? That was from Area 52. That was fantastic. Name of this fella is UFO researcher Grant Cameron. Outstanding. So he has a really long story. If you happen to watch that interview, it's really fascinating. But it speaks to bunch of stuff. Well, far too many things to really listen. I kind of regret bringing that one up. And there's a lot to unpack there. But maybe you've heard of this one. This one is fantastic. Fantastic.
Not blue. We had a lot of dead Bigfoots on the surface
This is
side
Mount
of the
St.
mountain that were covered
Helens.
up and recovered quickly by the U.S. government. We have black sites all over the place that are keeping this secret. A doctor who's a psychologist who has made contact, and this is what I know to be true. There are two different types of Bigfoot that roam around.
This is intriguing.
You have the Janu, which starts with an X, X-A-N-U-E, and you have Traycon, T-R-E-Y-K-O-N. Here is the massive difference between the two. The Traycon were brought here by the Greys a long time ago to mine for minerals. When they were done with them, they left them here to breed, to fight, to eat us, basically.
Wow.
They will cannibalize us. A lot of the 411 missing that you see what going on that somebody else was just talking about, they will cannibalize lone hikers and they will bury them. They will never be found. From what I know, again, to be fact, the Traycon are very ugly. They are flesh and blood creatures. Now, the people that run into the Janu, these are the ones that cloak. Okay, these are the ones that mind speak. They have a symbiotic relationship with trees. You have a council. I know this goes deep into the rabbit hole, guys. Stay with me. There is a council of 12. There are 2 on every continent except Antarctica because there are no trees. They can come to you at a Bigfoot, or they can be invisible and you might see that go through the forest. But they will talk to you if you're a good person and they feel like you have something to offer or a value. They'll communicate with you or make themselves seen. In that blue, we had a lot of dead Bigfoots on the side of the mountain that were covered up and recovered.
There we go. So, let me mute this as it plays again. So, the Zandu, hold on. I gotta make sure I'm saying this correctly. The Trocon, that's these guys. Let's Go Bigfoot gave us this, and so did Unanswered Universe. So the Traycon here and the Xanu and the Traycon. Well, isn't that fascinating? So now there's two variations of the same creature, and one was, I guess, manufactured, and the other one actually has a place in the universe, a home, if you will, among the stars. This tracks with a lot of reports. Sorry, that's my wrapper. Tracks with a lot of reports and a lot of eyewitness accounts of not only the more violent Bigfoot, but the more telepathic, talkative Bigfoot. So my question then becomes, which, if not both, have, let's say, the Native Americans of Northern California, who are they talking about? Because their rumors were, yeah, they exist, but they're kind of mean. And I think they even said that they eat people, so that would be the Trachon type here. And the fact that they said cannibalistic, which is weirded me out a little bit, because that would say that we are more closely related than perhaps we even are willing to admit. Even if you're just playing in the theoretical realm. Interesting. So, I don't know, a lot to unpack on that one. Do I think it's real? Entirely possible. We have Ruth, her last name escapes me, who met the Xanadu type, who are from a different world, apparently. And the way she tells her story is they're very one with nature and speak telepathically and all that fun stuff. I'll get to Linda Moulton Howe in a minute. A lot of folks like her. I do as well. I like her work on a secret space program that we do have those IKS type starships out there, which is kind of cool. I mean, if they're out there, and that would mean more likely than not we've made first contact already. Never mind if you go even deeper down that rabbit hole, you could say, oh, that happened with Truman. Was it Truman? No, man. My history of presidents is woefully lacking. But we'll get to Linda Moulton Howe here in a second. First, I want you to all take a look at the special best friend that showed up in a photo. All right, so this was taken at one of those, old theme parks, little playgrounds they had. And this was supposedly a little girl's best friend named Beto. And while this is the little girl, her face is covered up. While she was in the little curly hamster tube things for kids, she poked out and waved her hand, and this thing right there said hi and smiled back as well. That is not a normal human face. It's not far off, but it's not a normal human face. Especially if we compare, the size of this girl's apparent face, which is roughly halfway from the rosy cheek of that smile to that rosy cheek right there. And probably the jawline's about where the smile line is. And look at the size of that kid's head. I'm not kidding. It's like an orange on a toothpick, but I digress. That's not right. When your best friend shows up in your little kid's, your little kid's best friend Beto is not a imaginary best friend, or or maybe it could be a Topo type thing. I don't know. Maybe this kid's got some mental juice at the time and is able to manifest these things. But that looks like a potential ghost image to me. Intelligent one, too, because it knew when to smile for the camera. So, wee. All right, let's take a look at what Linda Moulton Howe had to say.
Ask a military aerospace source.
Hold on, let me back it up and go back in.
I have been able to ask a military aerospace source if the United States now has secret deep space vehicles for long distance space travel to other stars. And the answer that I received is yes.
Cool.
My source told me that under the new U.S. Space Force, the sixth and newest branch of American military, there are at least 3 long-distance space vehicles, each named after historic military leaders. One is the USS Curtis LeMay, named after 4-star General Curtis LeMay, who was U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff from 1961 to 1965. I have been told that the USS LeMay has been, quote, crewed in outer space since 2003 and has been to 22 different catalog solar systems in our small arm of the Milky Way galaxy.
Wow.
Along with the USS Curtis LeMay is the USS Hoyt Vandenberg, a second long-distance space vehicle named after Major General Hoyt Vandenberg.
Boy, that Vandenberg guy gets everything named after him. Secret starships, a big base in California. I digress.
He was U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff and President Truman appointed member of MJ-12 that secretly studied UFO ETs beginning in 1947. And the third U.S. long-distance space vehicle is named the USS Roscoe Hillenkoetter. Quoting from my source, the Hoyt Vandenberg is built mainly for reconnaissance, stellar mapping, laying out navigation paths to avoid cosmic obstacles, high radiation zones, newborn star development, and making first contact with other life forms. The USS Vandenberg has the largest crew of tall whites and Nordics from Sirius B on board to help facilitate first contact interaction correctly.
Okay, so Linda Moulton Howe. P.S. Big thanks to Linda Moulton Howe for putting this out in the world for us to take a look at. Has sources that have basically told her and thereby us that we're kind of living in a Star Trek world right now, or a Star Wars world, but the interaction with humans and alien species is a reality, according to this report. I would like it pointed out that when that British kid hacked the Pentagon all those years ago, way back when, he revealed pretty much the same thing. However, if memory serves, his information said that the Hillenkoetter, the LeMay, and the Vandenberg were already operational and running ops in the, when was that? Like the late 80s, early 90s. So to have this information repeated and given a different timeline that these ships have been active since 2003. Now, I will say, I only heard her say that the Curtis LeMay was active since 2003. I don't think she talked about activity for the Hillenkoetter or the Vandenberg, which I guess would make sense. And to at least one degree or another, uphold what was reported in the late 80s. by the British hacker guy. So that's very fascinating to me. And wow, now it's all under this Space Force stat. That means the Air Force, the branch of military I attempted to join, trained with for a while, is now phased out of space travel. We're strictly terrestrial. At least that's the way it sounds. And they get, they're still experiencing, but they're kind of living a weird secret Star Trek life. I wonder if all those technologies are there. Because there's been a few scientists that have whistleblown and they've saying, you know what? If it's on Star Trek, okay, this is a show from the 60s, man. If it's on Star Trek, we've already locked it down and it's a real technology. I myself can confirm that because I have witnessed, I think I mentioned this before, tractor beam technology, early formed tractor beam technology, but it was still there and was very effective. Although it was this big device moving around a 50-cent piece, what was constantly spinning in the air over the head of the audience. So I don't know how effective said tractor beam is. Hopefully it's been improved upon since then. I would imagine so. But again, no proof. You only have my word. And I hope you accept that. Okay, so that's pretty fascinating stuff. And special thanks to Lynn Moten Howe and Journey to the Truth podcast for bringing that to our attention. That's remarkable. This is a fun one. A UFO caught on tape back in the day. Back in 1998, apparently. I didn't know we still had VHS tapes going in 1998, but I'm pretty sure we had digital photography back then. Wow, look at that. That's pretty cool, I have to say. It looks like a... It's interesting. This was captured... El Volcan Popocatépetl. Wow, say that 3 times fast. So, volcano Popocatépetl. Crazy stuff. We've all heard the stories about UFOs loving volcanoes, potentially for refueling purposes. So that's fascinating stuff. And I'll finally leave you with petrified organisms that these guys claim are actually petrified animals. They're huge too. They're gigantic. So I'll turn the sound on and we'll go back in. Here we go.
Rewrite the history of the Earth. Colossal stone sculptures of extinct reptiles and megafauna almost 1,000 years before Göbekli Tepe in Turkey during the Younger Dryas. What you guys may have discovered may rewrite the history of the Earth. Okay. Colossal stone sculptures.
Now that's interesting, and in a different thing regarding these exact guys, they said not stone sculptures, but petrified animals. Like they were flash burned or flash frozen or something like that, and just died in the ice and pretty much where they were. And they're huge. They're gigantic, really. You saw that one guy, that was the eyeball of a snake. Wow, that was amazing. It would have taken up about a third of his torso, give or take. Just crazy stuff. All right, checking the time. It's 1:54, and all 3 of you have hung out with me so far. I really appreciate that. There's a lot of weird tie-ins between Epstein and UFO stuff, which kind of, for me, doesn't really tag or hang or whatever. There's the hip-hop artist who saw aliens, and then, wow, I mean, there's so much to dig through here. Persian Gulf waters turn crimson red. Okay, that's prophecy. But interesting nonetheless. Interesting. I have a lot of religion mixed in here. I don't know how it ended up in paranormal. It's paranormal evidence, but it did. Okay, last one. Semi-religious, but still really, really interesting. This is purportedly an image from the Vatican's little future TV set, the little time-traveling TV set. And it's supposed to be a street in Jerusalem. Oh, forgive me. I got that completely wrong. Okay, this is done. The photo itself was taken in Jerusalem by a Chilean named Diana Cooper, and she took photos accidentally of Joseph of Arimathea and Jesus, like they showed up in her photograph. So St. John the Evangelist and Jesus. So I'm sorry, that's St. John. That's Joseph of Arimathea, and that's Jesus right there. Apparently, tours was just taking photos, and these guys showed up. That's pretty impressive, I have to say. That from the photograph, we can tell that Jesus was very tall, which coincides with the Sabana, that there was a height close to 1.85 meters. Wow, really? That's almost, it's almost 6 foot. It's like 5'10", 5'11", something like that. That's kind of interesting. But I find that fascinating that this lady's taking very, and you can see the line where they had to really punch up this thing, and they still haven't identified this guy. But apparently, this happened in the 19th century, so we're probably talking at the very, very beginning of the very birth of photography, where he still had to use the big plates, wait a few minutes, take the cap off, let the image burn in, and then slide the plate out. Wow. So 19th century photography caught these 4 gentlemen. I think that may be Simon, if I remember my saints correctly and my apostles correctly. He was supposed to be the older guy. So if that's Simon and that's Jesus and that's Arimathea, then that must be John the Baptist there. And they manipulated these photos from the original here to make that to clean up the image a little bit. And one downside is they lost a lot of resolution in the face of this gentleman and this gentleman in here. Although these two faces turned out quite well. So there you have it. A test of not only faith, but of conviction and seeing what you want to see versus seeing what was actually there. And mind you, this is some 2,000 years ago. Well, okay, roughly 2,000 years ago. So to be able to photograph the past like that is amazing. Once again, I'm sorry. I thought this was the Vatican future-looking machine thing, TV, whatever it is. I was incorrect about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim Sedano. This has been Paranormal Insight, and next week on the show we have a fantastic guest. I hope you'll join us. Stay tuned on the Instagram for more details about all that. Thanks for joining, watching, and listening, and we'll see you next time on Paranormal Insight. If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.